Women leaders want answers for Payam Hospital closure. One-day polling reveals existing problems. And Sohe recalls World War II heroes at Awala.
This is National MTV News with Neville Choi.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. Women groups in Porgera are demanding answers for the operational status of the Payam Hospital. Women leaders expressed concerns that the hospital's closure has forced communities to either travel to Wabeg or for urgent complications to be treated in their homes. They all demanded that the Enga provincial government and the national government reopen the health facility so people have access to health services.
The Payam Hospital has ceased operation for almost 4 years. In a recent gathering in the mining town of Porgera, women leaders want the hospital to reopen. They demand answers from the Enga provincial government.
You told us, Porgera Hospital have no responsibility, please. Mipla demand him explanation, Leo. You must explain him, Mipla. Suppose you got interest in this mine, yeah? I'm supplying us, so you got interest. So you compromise in this mine, want them lifelong marriage.
The hospital's closure has forced communities in Porgera to either travel to Wabeg for treatment. Women leaders say children and women are the ones suffering because of the closure of the hospital. They say someone is responsible.
Planning mama, only work locally beginning lo, push, as bloody way, arade lo wara, low road. Why you don't go through? Na planning mama work on that. Also na mi blessing or go lo, provincial government lo give him approval.
For these women leaders, the closure of the hospital has been costly for the landowners. They are demanding the intervention of the Marape-Steven government so the hospital is reopened. Some say mine operator Barrick has done a lot and the levels of government must play their role as a health is a priority area.
Ausik you know can 18 want them this la business lo Barrick. Business am not a blah, na Ausik am not a blah. Awesome so Ausik. Am you look him? All leaders all no stop good na mipla mama na pigirini work lo kisim time na mipla planti am die.
Jack Lepave Jr., National MTV News.
Health Minister Elias Kapavore says the new health plan will capture all input by both government and private hospitals. Minister Kapavore says services like the St. John Ambulance, private hospitals or clinics will all be players in the new chain of health service. Kapavore also says this will include air and sea medical services.
It's still in order. We will make sure that this is part of the review process and we include the national ambulance services in the new health plan that will be coming up in the future. So it becomes part of the bigger government policy. It's not something we're only talking about, but it has to be captured.
One-day polling for local level government elections has revealed lingering problems that have not been resolved 8 years since the last LLG elections. Many people didn't have their names on the electoral roll and could not vote, while polling teams arrived late on locations due to limited resources. Moresby Province also received less than half of its total budget for the polls.
As the LLG declarations from all over the country are announced, the process has left many voters and candidates dissatisfied. In many locations around Ley City, many of those who turned up to vote couldn't because their names are still not on the electoral rolls. This comes on the back of a 2-year delay of the local level government elections, and the missing names on the electoral rolls has been even more frustrating.
Government all of totok strong mo this la idea. Please make sure you speed up this because by no duplication of voting system.
The national government chose to delay the local level government elections by 2 years. The decision rendered many of the resolutions passed by local level government councils null and void or legally questionable. Prior to the vote of no confidence, the East Sepik provincial government got a court order ordering the Electoral Commission to hold elections immediately.
Next time the election come up, we must get separate lines, mama.
Even with a 2-year delay, problems identified in the 2012 and 2017 national elections still have not been resolved. Declarations are continuing around the country. Scott Whitey, National MTV News.
Rural electrification is a must, and the government must put more money to support it. Aitape Lumi MP Patrick Pruaj said this when launching a 5 million kina rural electrification program in his district. The project was initiated for surrounding villages of Aitape, including the township. According to the member, the money was made available to PNG Power since 2009 to roll out the program. However, landowner issues have hampered the progress of the program greatly for the past 10 years. Pruaj said the issues must be sorted out immediately so that such important projects are not delayed in the future. He said the rural electrification program will continue in his district. The Amended Mining Act will be presented to the Parliament in the September session when it resumes. Mining Minister Johnson Tuke made these statements while welcoming the new Vice Minister for Mining, Jimmy Uguro, at the MRA building recently. Minister Tuke described the current act as colonial.
As the Marape Stephen government appoint vice ministers and make changes in government departments and state agencies, more effort will be the focus in the motto Taking Back PNG. Mining Minister Johnson Tuke says one major change in policy will be the Mining Act. Tuke will be presenting the Amended Act to Parliament come September.
In September session, I'll be promoting the new amendment. Most of our mining acts are more or less colonial. It's been long overdue, and I am promoting that in the coming session.
Usino Bundi MP Jimmy Uguro was recently appointed by the cabinet to assist Minister Tuke. A man with few words, he gave a head start right and finish right in every process that consult each stakeholder in the mining sector.
There are many things that we will discover in the operations of mines. If we start right at the beginning of our operations, we will finish right. If we don't do the surveys well from the beginning, it will be hard to deal with the landowners. If we don't do the social survey properly, it will be very difficult to find the true landowners.
The mining sector contributes nearly 45% of revenue to the national purse. In the past 40 years, operations of most mines have used the 1977 Mining Act. The mining minister says all this will stop as the government makes moves to alter policies that see all stakeholders in a win-win situation.
We will take back PNG from the foreign invasion. We are a global community. It is just a manner in which how we manage our policies and our acts. None of us in this room are foreigners. Mining has been going on for years and for years. Some are greenfield and some are brownfield. We need to conduct our due diligences and make sure that as much as they win, we too also have to win.
Jack Lopave Jr., National MTV News.
And still to come on National MTV News, Lillian Kenea's visit to Awala village in the Northern Province, where PNG's history of World War II remains and the International Labour Organization celebrates 100 years. See you then. Welcome back to the news. In the Sohe district of Northern Province lies Awala village. As many took the day off to remember those who had fallen during World War II, not many remember that Awala is where lies PNG's largest mass burial of an undisclosed number of high-profile trained Japanese soldiers. Not much attention is given to this historical site. However, it is a history worth remembering. That is where it all started.
July 23rd is PNG's National Remembrance Day. However, its significance is one that not many remember well.
Right, 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 march, left, right, where?
In the Sohe district of Northern Province, on Tegenatanol is where the first baptism of fire took place. Although commemorated in Port Moresby every year as Awala Day, not much attention is given to the actual site where it all began.
I want to see this place really done up nicely, and we have to honor the memory of what has happened. Because of them, we are here. Because of them, development em kami na miplaken alis lukim sapla seni sa.
The merits of European control in Papua and New Guinea and the Australian policy collapsed abruptly with the Japanese attacks that accompanied the outbreak of the Pacific War in December 1941. Before long, enemy troops overran many parts of the mandated territory of Papua and New Guinea, and air attacks on Port Moresby began. Such events were beyond the control of the government officials. Those in New Guinea were captured and retreated, while the Papuan service was forced to hand over to the army. The Australian New Guinea Administration Unit, or ANGAU, governed the country then.
During the skirmishes, a platoon of the PIB was on recce through the northern district and was on the beaches of Buna Government Station on the 21st of July 1942.
The platoon of PIB soldiers eventually retreated towards the Owen Stanley Ranges.
We never knew that a Japanese invasion was eventuating on the northern beaches of Buna, Sananda, and Gona.
39 PIB soldiers and their 3 ANGAU officers lay in wait to cut off the Japanese advance party on the knoll.
So, out here, in front of us here, right now, very close to us here, that is exactly the location at 3 p.m. on the 23rd July 1942. They lay waiting for the Japanese advance. So what actually happened here? From the information that was relayed to me by the national president at the time, who is now deceased, Ben Mwede.
The people of Awala now want more people to visit this historical area and are calling on the relevant authorities to help them develop it into a major tourism site.
Planti tourist all work lokan all lusim dis lap na oli goanta lokokoda goran lobuna making molsem stab making molsem na mitla look go na mitla tokosem. I think good plosem mitla must try lo putim dis la place ikamal place clear. So all get a Papanugini na country na world must have also. Wo em statim lo one map and must put in me play it must put in place clear na all must looking. So
this is our history, and it is one worth remembering and preserving, lest we forget. Lilian Sopera Kinea, National Emtv News.
Preservation of culture and history is one thing that Sohe District Project Coordinator Rita Aima hopes to bring momentum to in the coming years. Months of planning and preparing finally came into reality as villages of Awala showcased their culture and traditional dances in full. MTV News was in Awala for the Oro Cultural Show.
The beat of the kundu drum, the traditional singing, dancing, the colors of Oro province were celebrated in full during the cultural show with dances that were not usually shown out in public. Some of the dances told stories of women who lost their husbands during the war, others of animals and nature.
Passing Awala and going right up to Kokoda. Awala was hidden for the last donkey years. And now it is time. Your leader.
It took months of planning, but project coordinator Rita Ayama said it's about time the people of Sohe district started showcasing their colors to the world.
It is your right to exercise and demonstrate your flying colors. This culture is a very unique culture. You can make money out of culture. You can bring economic with the culture. You can bring economic to the community. Do not think that you cannot make money out of this culture. Is the heritage of our forefathers.
Mrs. Ayama believes that her province can become a big tourism hub. She hopes that this show can be developed into a festival that tourists and all of PNG can come to witness every year.
People, I want you to take ownership of this program because your people died during the war, and our people also died during the war. This is a place where when the war came in, the people fled, families were scattered, children went their own ways, husbands went their own ways, the wives went their own ways.
The oral cultural show was officially launched a day after Remembrance Day, and the people hope to see this event be bigger and better next year. Lilian Sopera Kinea, National, MTV News.
The International Labour Organization yesterday celebrated their 100 years of advancing social justice and promoting decent work. A reception hosted by Host Minister, Labour and Industrial Relations Alfred Manasseh, saw ILO Director General Guy Ryder and other high-level delegates all in attendance to celebrate the 100 years anniversary.
The celebration comes after a series of meetings and dialogues with members from 11 Pacific Island states, which started on Thursday. The celebration at APEC House here in the nation's capital saw all leaders in attendance to witness various cultural performances, followed by fireworks. Labour Minister Alfred Manasseh spoke on the importance of the dialogue they have been involved in the past few days.
To our own existence, so I'm so happy, Director General, that you've come and given us some inspiration as to our continued engagement in our own ways in the region.
The International Labour Organization was first established in 1919, and this year marks its 100 years of advancing social justice and promoting decent work for all workers globally. ILO Director General Guy Ryder expressed satisfaction on the work they have done over the years.
The important thing for me is that we have succeeded in doing something important. We have made, I think, the ILO centenary and everything that has surrounded that centenary, amongst other things, an opportunity to give new impetus and new direction to the relationship and the cooperation between the ILO and its specific members.
Papua New Guinea first became a member of the ILO in 1976, and through the PNG Trade Union Congress, they have been working on addressing issues of workers. PNG TUC General Secretary Clemens Kanau says there will be more discussions with ILO for a way forward in addressing issues of workers in the country.
And in the recommendations that we have, we believe ILO will consider. But at heart, from the workers, we are looking towards revitalization of SPOC2, and we ask for some assistance in that area. Workers' education is important in the region.
Fijian Labour Minister also expressed satisfaction on the outcome of the meeting in PNG on ILO's 100-year centenary. Rayon Lakingu, National, MTV News.
And National MTV News continues after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Star West Limited, a company doing maintenance on the Tabubil to Kionga Highway, will be in charge of resealing roads in Kionga Town and connecting roads to rural areas. The construction is said to ease poor road conditions in the heart of Kionga Town. On our recent visit there, work has already started and will continue for the next few months. Project Development Officer Larry Franklin says the road project in the district is one major development project. Maintaining existing roads will help ease the movement of people and cargo. The parts of a missing bridge bought by the Eastern Highlands Provincial Administration were recovered this week at 40 Mile in the Huon Gulf district of Moresby. Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu expressed disappointment, saying this has denied the people of Kaveve in Goroka district their rights to this service. While the parts are being transported to Goroka, Mr. Numu said this was part of the recovery exercise the provincial government has been embarking on.
This container is one of two containing the supplies and parts of a missing 12-foot bridge that was supposed to be built in Kaveve, Goroka district. Budgeted for in the provincial 2017 budget, the payments were made, but the bridge was not delivered and built, according to the acting director of the Eastern Highlands Works Unit, Lavet Ganinu.
Na mipla follow up, mipla time mipla come in law administration, mipla realizing that this la bridge is missing. So some la documents mipla retrieve him law files them, so we must delivery and take place finis. Mipla lame complaint law, fraud squad office law Goroka. From there, Modi try and find them out. You go kona or locate him la tubla bridge. The bridge is tablo tubla container or different location.
Costing 850,000 kina, the bridge was supposed to replace a deteriorating bridge servicing a population of 15,000 in Kaveve. Whilst this 40-foot container was found here, another 20-foot container with supplies for the bridge was also found at Kamkumu in Leh. Andrew Les owns the yard where this container was found. He says, however, that he was not aware that these were stolen items.
Sakam drop in, check in castle. Patol no to give me also. And when to cargo behind them moving kolo mereng na karim ko kolo place.
Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu was also present during the recovery. He said this delay denied the Kaveve people this service and those responsible must be found and dealt with.
Our people don't suffer or Hamas, yes, but the benefit was a bridge here. Our beneficiaries here. Now you look more suffering more. Money go walking or come up or delay deny government service. People.
The recovery of the bridge is part of a larger exercise that the EHP government has embarked on to recoup the provincial government's properties. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Leh.
Turning overseas now, and a new documentary is expected out soon that will tackle the health of the planet. It looks at climate change and what we can do to fix it. The New Zealand documentary also has a few suggestions for people.
Ever wondered what the world will look like in 2040? Damon Gamo asks just that in a letter to his daughter-style documentary, as he explores the issue of climate change and travels the world looking for solutions. So why 2040?
We realise that it's far enough away for these kind of large-scale changes to happen, but it's also close enough for people to be around and experience the change.
For New Zealand, agriculture is our biggest problem when it comes to emissions, but he says farming practices are emerging that can help fix it.
It's about how do you get that carbon out of the atmosphere back into your soil, and once you put it in the soil, the health benefits of the food improve, the water retention, which is really important. So I think both Australia and New Zealand in that sense can be world leaders in terms of regenerative agriculture.
Our next big problem is cars. The documentary looks at shared driverless cars as the way of the future.
It'll be far cheaper to almost subscribe to a transport network in the same way we do with Netflix or Spotify.
Each of the solutions he explores already exists. He says we just need to embrace them. Right here in New Zealand, there are people turning our food waste into biofuel, taking our soft plastic and turning it into fence posts, making packaging out of plants, and carbon-negative shoes out of sugarcane. And everyday Kiwis are doing their little bit to make better choices.
Do you think that there is hope for 2040?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have said that 3 years ago. I really did feel a bit overwhelmed, but I do, with all my fibre, feel we can do it now.
2040 is showing at this week's film festival and out for general release next month.
The United Kingdom has recorded its second hottest day ever in Cambridge. The heat's caused widespread destruction to travel, but spare a thought for people who have to work in some of the worst environments.
Was this the worst place to be working on the hottest day of the year? Staff at the foundry in Banbury are used to high temperatures, but today it was absolutely scorching.
Drink plenty of fluids, get your head down, get on with it.
They're casting liquid iron to make parts for heavy machinery. The process started early this morning to avoid the blistering heat. They're used to working with molten metal at 1400 degrees in here. I can feel the heat behind me. But on a day like today when it's so warm outside, it's even hotter.
It's a very harsh radiant heat. Like being continually sunburned, I suppose, if you like.
Just round the corner at the hairdressers, and things aren't blowing any cooler.
It's pretty horrible. It's really hot, especially like Shireen's just had a Keras move, which involves a lot of drying, a lot of straightening, so it does get really hot, yeah.
And Shireeni, what's it like for you sat in that chair?
Do you see the glisten of sweat on my face? I'm hot. I'm really hot. I mean, I'm bearing this because I look great.
Where trains were actually able to operate in the heat, special cameras detected unbearable temperatures. As the country baked, crowds took the plunge, many enjoying the relative cool of local water parks and lidos. And it wasn't just people taking a dip at the beach in Todmorden in Yorkshire.
It's natural, it's lovely, especially the cows having a little paddle as well.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's like being in an island in Greece or somewhere. When the sun's on you, it's gorgeous.
Tomorrow it is expected to be much cooler, but at least some of Britain got to enjoy our day in the sun.
Protesters at a land occupation in New Zealand were visited by politicians and the Human Rights Commission. It comes after some protesters were arrested after attempting to block the main road into Auckland Airport.
Their plea for protection 3 days in is still fuelled by passion. Families and friends from around New Zealand settling in at the cordon for a long fight.
These girls have travelled from Wellington and I travelled from Hamilton.
Remaining under the eye of police after a night of tense frustrations that led to a small group of 3 men and 4 women blocking a main road to the airport by chaining themselves to a van.
And it goes to show that the nation is frustrated and are willing to go as far as they went to be heard.
And in a small step towards a kind of resolution, the Auckland Council, who rezoned the land for housing, has agreed to hold an urgent meeting. Despite the government saying they will not intervene here, the Green Party are being welcomed here to join the protest and show their support, to show that they believe there are flaws surrounding the entire settlement process. Green Party co-leader Marama Davidson not denying they could withdraw support from the government if it doesn't intervene.
If we don't address the core problem at the heart of this issue, we will continue to see these issues with land disputes.
An ongoing battle to protect sacred land, that while on one side is dividing whānau and iwi, on the other is uniting a group that's growing in power each day.
Yeah, with Saturday's news, Trukai Sports is next. We'll take a look at that. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The growth of Women's Rugby League is heading in the right direction, with volunteers and teachers giving their time to help develop the sport in their districts and LLGs. But more support is needed to grow the game for both boys and girls across the country. Fidelis Okena has this report.
The school's Rugby League Confederate Championships ended yesterday at the Oil Search National Football Stadium in Port Moresby. Peter Alu is the coach of the women's Under-18 Open Division team from the Northern Conference, which covers the Mamase region. He was the main voice giving instructions out to his players during halftime. The young women in his team were competitive in the competition. Coming from the Northern Conference, he is based out of Ramu and he has only 2 schools in his competition out of Usinabundi.
Yes, I come from Ramu. Ramu School Rugby League. And Ramu School Rugby League is located in the Usinabundi district. And I run the program in 2014. I started the school boys rugby league in 2014 and then on this far. So I only run 2 schools. Ramu High School and Ramu Primary School.
Alu has had much success in Women's Rugby League over the past years, with a few of his players from the Northern Conference making it into the national women's team, the Oil Search PNG Orchids.
Back in Ramu, I started the program Women's Rugby League in 2015, and 4 of my girls representing PNG Orchids. It's Shelley Jo, Grace Mark, and Jacobette Walker, and Agosita Barro, and I myself, I coach them in my team. They represent Team PNG.
Alu and his fellow teachers and volunteers who give their time to promoting schools rugby league want support from members of parliament to help to expand the schools program across the country to help develop the sport, which a lot of adolescents and children take part in.
I want the program to be go bigger in the region or in the districts. I want my district MPs to, like Wishnubudi, we are living in the remote area. I want my governors and district MPs to look forward to develop this program.
Phyllis Sukina National, MTV Sports.
After being stagnant for some time, the PNG Kickboxing Federation has become more active over the past few months. They've hosted and introduced new fights during the year and hope to expand throughout the country. They also aim to include more women in the sport.
This is part of our program. We like to work together with other partners, which we have been promoting, and flash kickboxing promotions, and we like to also include different other promoters will need to come in so that we can all work together for the interest of the sport and provide opportunity to our fighters. So,
kickboxing has taken off in the last few months after we've been quiet for some times, and I think I can see a lot of potential in our young men and women. We've been putting the young boys in front. I think now is a time for us to put the young ladies in front.
Times a week, 3 times a day in a week, and I think she's ready for that, and I'm really happy for that, and I hope all the other female fighters out there, they can follow their footsteps.
And stay tuned. True Guys Sports continues after the break with some news on basketball and boxing. We'll see you then.
True Guys Sports.
Welcome back to True Guys Sports and to basketball now. Kiwi Steven Adams has been sent a blunt message by the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's time to step up. It follows a dramatic off-season for some players in the NBL.
With this shot, the Oklahoma City Thunder fell to another disappointing season. Their third subpar year leading to drastic change.
Reporting Russell Westbrook on his way to Houston.
The Clippers are making a trade for Paul George with OKC.
2 future Hall of Famers gone in a matter of weeks. The last key player standing from the mess, Steven Adams. And even his position isn't safe.
I think a player like Steven, I would hope, continues to get better. I've said up here, I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again with him.
Thunder General Manager Sam Presti airing grievances in a lengthy press conference today about his star centre, who almost didn't stick around after the Boston Celtics showed heavy interest in the big Kiwi services. But for now, he's Oklahoma's main hope.
Our 2 best players are not on the team, so, I mean, everybody's game should change in some way, shape, or form, and a lot of that's up to Steven, and a lot of that's up to the coaches.
Adams is set to earn a near $39 million for his efforts, which Presti hopes will be enough for him to up his game.
He's taken small steps forward every season he's been here. I'd expect him to do the same next season.
In a league where no one is safe, Steven Adams clearly has to prove his worth, while his team searches for a new identity.
Boxing's heavyweight division is in disarray with former champion Dillian Whyte facing an 8-year ban. The English boxer reportedly tested positive to banned substances.
The British contender reportedly tested positive for a banned substance 3 days before his unanimous points victory over Oscar Rivas. And it's not the first time Whyte served a 2-year ban in 2012 after failing a drug test. His team are expected to release a statement tomorrow.
And that ends True Guys Sports for tonight. Up next is the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay with us.
True Guys Sports. True Guys Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always. And the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region: fine and cloudy for Port Moresby, fine for Daru, mostly fine for Kerama. Alatau is fine and it's mostly fine in Popaneta. And to the Momase region, cloudy and drizzles with showers in Lay and Madang, cloudy and rain in Wau, cloudy and showers for Wewak, and the same forecast for Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, it's cloudy and showers for Lorangau, Cave and Kimbe. And for Buka, Kokopo and Rabaul, you're going to be experiencing some showers and thunderstorms. To the Highlands region, fine weather and morning fog for Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa, and drizzles and fog expected in Mendi and Wabeg. And there is a strong wind warning. Strong southeast winds of 25 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas. And there is also a gale force wind warning. Strong southeast wind surge of 34 to 48 knots are expected to continue within the next 6 to 8 hours, causing very rough seas and very high wind waves. And forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerama to Yule Island to Hood Point, Aroma Coast to Samurai Island with waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen with waters of East New Britain and New Island and Bougainville, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Eastern and Western Milne Bay Islands, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitius Dampier Straits to Siasi Island to Long Island, seas 2.5 to 3.5 meters. Waters of Long Island to Madang, to Boge, to Wewak, to Aitape, to Vanimo, and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And waters of Manus and its western group of islands with waters of West New Britain, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. An ocean forecast for PNG areas: Coral Seas, seas rough with southeast winds at 20 to 25 knots. Solomon Seas, seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Bismarck Seas, seas rough to very rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots, increasing to 48 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always. And that's the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 27th of July, 2019. From the entire Emtv News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.